you know, yeah, I'm only 29, but I've been through a couple transitions, and
Mhm.
so I'm curious to hear more about your transition in terms from we work into where you're at now, and just kind of like what was going through your mind during that time, and how did you, yeah, just talk to me during that transition phase. Like, what were you doing? What was going through your mind? How were you processing everything?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's such a brilliant question because that's something that we as a people, everybody's transitioning in some way, shape, or form. So how that manifested for me was back in March. So still with WeWork, but at that time, again, COVID's hitting hard,
Hmm.
and it was like right at that time. I'll never forget the day. It was March 12th,
Wow.
right? March 12th when we started seeing the news and it started picking up on all the cycles. So, you know, over time, I realized that it might impact our team, and eventually it did. So you
Hmm.
saw a huge exodus from our team. A lot of folks in Silicon Valley, and not just at WeWork. You're seeing at a lot of different startups, a lot
Right.
of different powerhouses having to let folks go because it was, a way in which folks could proceed forward based on the business models they had at that time. So I found myself after I got laid off sitting in my backyard having walked for 2 hours, and I was just like, what do I do now? Because this was it. This was what I
Hmm.
had kind of built myself up to do.
Hmm.
But dude, I was listening to Toby, and if you guys don't know Toby Brian, listen to Toby, but he was talking about uh destiny,
Hmm.
and how my destiny is linked to the death of me, right? And
Mm.
so this whole time I was just like turning around and around about,
Yeah.
man, what was me? I just got laid off, this, that, and third. But this was really just a breakthrough, an open door for blessing. And so this
Mm.
kind of opened the door for, hey, you've been talking about starting this business all this
Right.
time, right? Like
Yeah.
this is the time. You have
Yeah.
the time, you have the means, you have the energy, let's do it. So that kind of transitioned us into moving about in a way different fashion of how do we own our processes. I think
Yeah.
moving forward, I'm only 28. I don't want to be beholden to what's happening at the federal level or at the
Mhm.
societal level of like, man, everything's breaking down and I have to receive what someone gives me. It's like, how can I really own
Yeah.
some of those processes? So
Yeah.
now we have our business, we're seeing a lot more dividends and a lot more growth as
Nice.
far as ownership and agency. So that's a little bit about my story. It's just, what started off as maybe a tragedy or maybe as a
Yeah.
crisis was
Hmm.
really meant for breakthrough and opportunity.